Hogwarts Legacy takes massive inspiration from Harry Potter. Okay, review done, time to get on to the next essay. What I mean is, despite being in the Potterverse and having free reign to tell any story they wanted within the confines of their near-limitless source material, Portkey Games has decided to use the narrative framework of Harry Potter beat by beat, and the game suffers significantly because of it. You are the Chosen One, and you have the power to use ancient magic, and it's never explained why this literal no-name can use this power. And you have to stop a generic evil fantasy faction from using this MacGuffin to kill all the wizards. The story never gets more complicated than that, and it's an incredibly superficial level open-world sandbox narrative, which in most games is worth an eye roll and then moving on to your next game. But it's torturous in this game because the sandbox is absolutely fantastic. If I could, I would have changed this to a world review, but all my notes are on the story, so I'm stuck with dissecting this dull fantasy snooze fest. But just so I don't come across as a whiny contrarian, there are several things Hogwarts Legacy gets correct about its narrative, namely the characters. I had completely given up hope for the main character being even remotely likable, due to their lack of name and how I expected everyone to fawn over them for no reason other than this is the player and we have to make them feel awesome. And I was wrong. There is a bad case of everyone loving you for being so great despite not doing anything all that extraordinary, but the issue is severely lessened by giving the main character a voice with which to respond, oftentimes presenting humble dialogue options, rather than a stoic pretty boy who emotes as much as a comatose rock. I still didn't feel all that great a connection with my character, as without a name there was nothing for me to latch onto, although I do want to praise the writing surrounding that glaring issue. Other games refer to your no-name character with a title, such as Divine Dragon or Dovahkiin, but Hogwarts Legacy is written in such a way that it cleverly circumvents that problem. Another awe-inspiring thing Hogwarts Legacy does is having interesting side characters. Well, I'll be honest, there are only 3, and it's all of the companions. At the core of them all, you can clearly see what the Sorting Hat did, as each one fits nicely into their respective house. If these were terrible characters, each of them would be their house trope and nothing more, but these 3 students each have separate personalities built around their core that makes them attractive. The Slytherin has an aspect to him that makes him sympathetic, while not losing that pissy attitude that put him in his house. The weakest of the 3 would be Natty, who's more interesting because she's an African transfer student, and it's a window into an aspect of Harry Potter not often seen, but she is somewhat of a stereotypical Gryffindor. The cast, while primarily being first-time voice actors, fit well within the well-mannered but mysterious wizarding world. While the dialogue is brought down by the text box style of writing present in most RPGs, there's clearly no deadweight voice actors in the game. Well, I've praised the story as much as I could, and now it's time to get back to why this tale is so disappointing. Now, maybe my expectations for the story were too high, and that's why I'm genuinely let down with what the game presented me with. But I feel as though my hopes were quite manageable. All I wanted was a unique side story told within the wizarding world, like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I thought setting the game in the 1800s would provide the writers total freedom to tell whatever story they could imagine, while not affecting the established lore. So if you had free reign in one of the most creative worlds of all time, why did you just write a modern open-world story about an evil faction with limitless soldiers and trying to clear the map of all their camps? You could do that in any open-world game, but this is Harry Potter. Before these books, there was no other franchise that combined the mysticism of Lord of the Rings with the culture of Britain. So when you have such an original world with such a unique style to how it works, why did you fail entirely to make a narrative that captures that feeling? Especially when your open world is sublime, with references and charm totally befitting of the bigoted bitch's beautiful books. And while we're on the subject of political views, when you have a game mired in controversy due to the beliefs of its objectively moronic creator, why would you make the villain the racial stereotypes that were always met with cynicism and disdain from their introduction? I mean, you can deny all you want that the goblins are allegories for Jewish people, but the short race of creatures that run the financial aspect of the world are oppressed by the predominantly white wizards, and they start rising up against them with the goal of exterminating their oppressors, is a stupid idea in any game. But in a game that's already in such hot water, it might as well be brewing fire salamanders casting Incendio, is a colossally moronic idea. Hogwarts Legacy is everything I expected from a world and gameplay perspective. Still, because I foolishly chose to make a story review, this video is unrepresentative on my thoughts of the game. I'm disappointed that one of the most fantastical worlds in fiction's biggest video game adaptations didn't shine like the Patronus it could have been, and instead fizzled out.